meals at the Keg, Bistro One, Bar Italia, Caribou, Fat Cats, Armando's, the Brew Pub, Eastside Mario's. Thank you very much, Italian Cultural Center. Thank you very much, Health Science North, for giving me accommodations and use of your facilities there for this week and a half. Thank you very much, Tractor Trailer. Thank you very much, Alicia and the rest of the Fawcett family. Thank you very much, Tom and Donna Cava. Thank you, Dennis Pelichuk. Thank you, Gary Cooper. Thank you, Joel Camuzzi, Lynn Cloud, Michael Gravel. Thank you, Bishop Colley. Thank you, County Fair Plaza. Thank you, Lena from Traffic at the Police Department. Thank you, Intercity Shopping Center, for helping us do this event on January 2nd and 3rd there. Thank you, Da Vinci Center. And thank you, Frank Puglia and Nova Puglia, for helping me out.
Well, certainly Frank Puglia, in his column in the Thunder Bay Post, has made a great contribution to the awareness that you are seeking for your cause. There's no question about that. To that caller on line number 2. Caller, go ahead, please. Yes, good morning.
There is a bone marrow registry, first of all, which would be an excellent idea to have an organ registry, a worldwide organ registry. So once you get on that registry, then if they find that you're a candidate to help save somebody's life, then there's a procedure that you go through afterwards. Like, you don't get picked. You go through a series of tests before you get right to the actual that you could be possibly helping save that person's life. And that would be a great idea, to have the same kind of system for all organs. That's correct. Here's another problem that's arising in Northern Ontario. We had a case in North Bay where a little 7-year-old girl needed a bone marrow transplant, and she had about 3 weeks left to live. And we were trying to get as many people to sign up as possible candidates. And one of the other things that we were trying to do was push a petition so that we can get easier access for a registry around this area, so that, because everything, when you think about all these things, they're all down south,
Yes, that's right.
And it's crazy that and I've gone through almost every town here in Northern Ontario. It's crazy that it's thinking that people are living up here, there's wilderness and igloos, and which isn't the case, and there isn't enough attention brought to these parts with the health needs and the health care. And I'm very glad that these things are being discussed in the Ontario legislature and given the attention that they are, and I hope that things will turn around in these areas.
Caller, thank you for raising that. It is interesting how we take so many things for granted. I until I have been talking about your plight and your travels, I thought you signed something in your driver's license. That's how much attention I've paid to this issue.
Well, here's again another thing where if we had our governments taking the action that they should have, when they transferred from the driver's license to the health card, they should have did a big campaign.
Absolutely.
and let every single person know about that. And this is how much importance was needed to do something like this. I've had about 80% of the public not knowing that it's in your health card.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be. That
Absolutely.
shouldn't be. So there, the awareness and education that is so much needed isn't there. This is one of our main focuses with the walk. We're trying to get all 3 levels of government to say, look, please start paying attention to this and start getting some proper action done so that we can save more lives.
George Marcello, your guest in the studio. We turn to a guest on line 1. Caller, go ahead, please. Hi. It's almost equivalent to the issue of an adopted child, knowing who her real parents were. What is the status of that?
Well, at present, the only means of communication is through a screen letter, and that is
Screened letter.
a screen letter where you can write a letter, not revealing too much about yourself.
Okay, you being the recipient.
Me being the recipient.
Okay.
Can write that thank you note,
Okay.
and it is, brought to another person that brings it to the family, but they screen it to make sure that there isn't any relevant information that could be found out who you are. And that is brought to the donor family. And that is our only means of communication at this point, and that's a shame. We should have an option available similar to the guidelines with the adoption rules. I've talked to hundreds of donor families that have a real desire to meet the recipient for completeness, continuance, and so many good reasons. And recipients like myself have a desire to meet that family. There should be an option available, and we're calling this mutual consent, that if the desires are mutual, and with the right guidelines, there should be an option available for a meeting to take place at some point in time, a physical meeting. And that would certainly bring a lot of incentiveness to the public to become organ donors, knowing at some point in time that the family could meet the recipient.
Are there dangers here that they're recognizing? I'm thinking of the family who lost a son, but that son's organ lives on, so the family now has the feeling that they have a new son in the recipient, and that those two parents of that deceased boy could swamp the recipient's life. They could take over his life and want to put you through school and want to you to become part of the family and just take over your life.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that could come up, good and bad, and I'm looking at there's more good things than bad things.
Okay.
I think though what we should have available is the option at least to seek those things. Right now we're prohibited from even experiencing whether it will be good or bad.
Yes.
And my feeling is that most of it would be good. I think with the right guidelines in making that meeting happen, that eventually, for the most part, it will be good. We're not going to have perfect meetings all the time, but for the long run, I think it is something very essential. And that's another part of my shopping list that I bring into the federal government to address.
Would you feel that a first step would be a means whereby they could communicate on an anonymous basis? That you could say, without giving your name and your address, you could say, okay, I'm a baker and I live in Belleville, Ontario, and I have 2 children, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that could be part of the guidelines in leading up to a possible meeting.
Yes.
When I say that Canada has not embraced this and has not taken the steps, to put a lot of things into action, we don't have to invent the wheel here with some of these things. There's countries and some states that are doing things like that presently, and things are working very well in their perspective countries and states. And that
your phone calls, and you can find out whether it's been a disaster or a success then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Precisely.
So I think the idea of that this has been too long in the background, and we should bring it right up to the forefront, and make it a priority now. There's too many lives that have been could have got saved